Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Seftimor Podcast. I told you in the Seftimor Daily a little while ago, last week, that I would be doing more content to where I'm writing about 500 word articles, essays that are going to be just parts and parts and parts of the same type of topic. So I'm writing these to get more out so I could put out more content, because just like the podcast, where you think that you have to do a 30-minute podcast or you have to do a 45-minute podcast or something like that, and then you get so overwhelmed with all, the thought of, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, that you don't do anything. So that's what spawned, Dad Got Game was the one that spawned the Seftimor Daily, listening to his stuff that he was doing daily. And seeing that it was short and it was doing really well, gave me the idea to do my own. So shout out to Dad Got Game. So I sat there and I'm like, listen, if I do like 5-10 minute podcasts or whatever, or if they go longer or whatever, then I'll have 50 minutes of content a week. Like, that's a lot more than I'm doing now. So that's what I'm trying to do with the writing, so I could also do this for you guys and put this out in audio version. It is also going to be something that I'm just trying, like I said, to do, and then one day bundle it together, maybe as a book. So first is positive thoughts. I'm always a big fan of self-talk, and I've read about it in many books, so I wanted to have my take on it. And it's one of the best things, because before we get into it, like, I would be at work some days, and it's reality is all really based on how you picture things. And I'm not talking about tragedies or things that happen that are out of our control, that are just devastating, but I'm talking about things that we can control. So you guys know I was in the family business, and I would go in and a customer would come in and they'd be there at 8:00 in the morning, or knocking on the door before I open the door. And, you haven't even had your first coffee yet, the negativity starts flowing through you. Like, why is someone there this early, and blah, blah, instead of just reframing that and saying they're here because they're on their way to work. They're here because they're hungry. They're here because, a myriad of reasons that I just had to take a step back. And what I found was that when you reframe these things to just like you're sitting there saying, like, woe is me, why is this happening, you could also say that in the other direction and have a better day. So I found that my day was a lot better, and I found that I was able to stay positive, even during some chaos that would happen during the day, in the business, or even just outside of that in life. So without further ado, let's get into part one, which is positive thoughts. So this whole thing will be positive thoughts, is the whole thing, making sure that we're treating ourselves in our own head the best way that we can. Frame your mind, shape your destiny. When you wake up in the morning, are you excited to continue moving forward in your life, or miserable because life never seems to get better? The thoughts never seem to stop. You know the ones. They tell you no matter how hard you try, you will never amount to anything. This is your self-talk. By the time you sit down to try and do something, your energy is gone. Our mind is spiking our cortisol all day. Time goes by and nothing we do to be proactive in our lives seems to work. The goals that we set for ourselves never seem obtainable. Worse yet, they get further away because of the time we've wasted. I wrote this essay to help people face their negative mind, to silence the voices once and for all. I want to help you become your best self, to teach your full potential in this life. Let us begin. Every day we engage in conversations. We do this with people around us and with ourselves. The thing is, few people realize the conversations that are going on in their own heads. Throughout the day, we're holding full-blown conversations with ourselves. No matter the activity, there is a voice inside of us. Even right now, as I write this essay, there's a voice in my head. It's judging the words I type. It's judging what is coming out of my mouth, making sure that it's the best it could be. No, you don't need to check into a mental institution. Not yet. Well, maybe some of you. Everyone reading this has these conversations, so let's figure out how to maximize our lives by using the voice to our advantage. Once again, we have conversations going on in our head all day, sometimes even many ones at once. How many are negative and irrelevant? Identify the ones that are not adding value to your life and discard them. The focus should be on positive thoughts, ones that add value to not only our lives, but to those around us. One of the best things I've done in my life was recognizing these voices. I then chose which ones are important to my mission. The more positive I treated myself, the more got done. If I treated myself in a negative way, I was crying months later because I wasted so much time. Whatever you are doing, the way you frame it is what will determine how your life goes. If you frame a small problem as a big one, you'll feel anxious and depressed. History has shown that the way we frame our thoughts affects our existence. Science has proven that the way we speak to ourselves can improve many aspects of our lives. By speaking to ourselves in a positive way, we are happier, get more done, and we develop true self-esteem. We don't even realize it, but it is fundamental to a successful and happy life. The issue we find ourselves in, unfortunately, is that most of us don't have positive thoughts all day, only negative ones. When our thoughts dwell on adversity, we are powerless. Minuscule tasks now feel monumental. Issues we may not even have decide to spring up as well. Negativity begins in the brain. It is destroying you through your own thoughts and words. Throughout this series, we will begin to see exactly how to change these thoughts into our favor. We are going to change the jargon of our mind to elevate our lives. No woo-woo or rah-rah. Just the practical advice that I can give you to get a happier life through positive thinking. We won't be going over mantras that only work for some people. I will be bringing you the best advice that I can, the stuff that I do every day. The topics discussed may not be all sunshine and rainbows, but they will be genuine. And that was part 1. I have about 4 parts now on seftimorlive.com, or if you would like to read on Medium, LinkedIn, Quora, I'm on all those as well. And you know, this is something that I just really feel that through the topics that I've read on it is just something that really helped me. It's really helped me just stay, if you just take that step back and you just realize that the conversations that are going on in your head, because usually it's automatic. That's what I wrote about today about autopilot. And your brain, you know, makes these pathways. I have a car analogy in it that, you know, don't be a crappy driver, just stay on the path. We'll get into that when I get to that article. But yeah, it's definitely something that you want to just be mindful of, even if it's still even if you're still shrouded in negativity afterwards. It's something that you want to just take a step back and just be mindful of those thoughts. And no matter how like that resistance that's in you, just try, because, you know, as everybody knows that if you've been following me, I write for me. I write to hold myself accountable, because I still have days every single day where the negative thoughts pop up and I get overwhelmed and I can't get out. And that's why I write this. This is my own, I say you in these articles, but I mean me, because it keeps me accountable, keeps me on the straight and narrow, keeps me positive. We'll do part 2 tomorrow. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for listening. If you want to support me on anything, Medium, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Mixer, which we are trying to stream every once in a while. The podcast is anchor.fm, and Facebook. Everything is at /Seftimor, SEFTIMOR. If you enjoyed this, please share it if you see it on any social media. If someone could get some value from this, make sure to send it their way as well. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Please subscribe. Helps the channel, helps me. Same thing with the podcast. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow.